Dawson's Rentals.
Hey YouTube, Dawson Ryder here, coming at you today with a sort of Sentai theory video on a recent revelation that's come to my attention from the most recent episode of DonBrothers, which may give us a pretty direct answer, possibly, about who exactly Zenkaiser Black is. I say it's sort of a theory video just because it's not like me making a random theory out of the blue based off of like scarce information. It's kind of more like an almost direct confirmation. Almost. We don't know for sure. But I want to discuss it because I think it's interesting. But if you didn't know, Zenkaiser Black's kind of remained a mystery. In a very interesting twist, we learned that our protagonist from last season is going to be joining the series. He's going to have a new suit. We didn't know exactly how this was going to work. All we knew was that at the end of Zenkaiser, our main protagonist and his friends went off to travel the multiverse, and next thing we know, we have another Kaito in this world, but there didn't seem to be much connection to that. He's an entirely different character, there was some mystery around it, but there didn't seem to be too many hints around, like, well, what happened there? Did something happen to Kaito? Is this a Kaito variant, like Loki? Like, what's going on? And there's been various hints and stuff throughout the whole series, but now we seem to actually have a possible answer, and one that I can't believe I didn't think about, especially as the concept came up. But to cut to the chase, what happened was, at the end of the most recent episode, Tsubasa Inui brother chased the Juto or the Bestials back to their like little dimension where they keep the people that they copy, because if you didn't know, the Bestials in the series are able to copy people and kind of take their identities, which is a pretty common trope in Toku and other series. But I guess they have to keep them alive in this dimension because their lives are linked to them. And when he follows them there, because his girlfriend slash the wife of the Pink Ranger is one of them, when he follows them, he sees like she's there, and also the detective guy that keeps running around and growling at people, and also Kaito. Kaito is there amongst them, and he's like looking like the Kaito we know in his classic jacket. So that almost seems to directly answer pretty strongly that the Kaito we know as Zenkaiser Black is possibly a bestial pretending to be Kaito or copying him. I think that's really interesting, and honestly, again, I feel stupid for not thinking about this once the concept of the bestials copying people came up. I think I was just so strongly waiting for more of a Zenkaiser connection. And it's weird too because like I think the mystery of him and how the Gears and Zenkaiser might be involved is arguably one of the biggest mysteries I've been interested in the series. Further, DonBrothers has gone into its own story. It's kind of fallen in the background, so in a way I didn't give it much thought. I honestly just assumed it was either our Kaito that something happened to, which I guess is true, just not in the way that I thought, or it was a variant. Part of me is disappointed that if this ends up being true, it's not a variant, because I kind of liked the idea of having different variants of Sentai characters we know. They love to do so many team-ups and stuff. I think that opened up a possibility for things in the future. Not to mention, Toku continuity for Sentai and Rider really frustrates me if you didn't know, because I hate this approach of it's connected when they want it to be and not when they don't want it to be. It's just stupid. And it seemed to me that Zenkaiser and DonBrothers was maybe going to more concretely set up like, oh, they're all different parallel worlds, and if this was a different parallel Zenkaiser, then we would have that. And I like the idea of setting up a more clean premise for further crossovers. Setting that aside, this is also interesting, and I think it'd actually be really cool. And part of me likes the idea of, Kaito universe hopping, and then he accidentally showed up here and kind of inadvertently got embroiled with the events of DonBrothers, and he ended up getting copied. It raises a lot of questions. I mean, number one, it's interesting to me how the bestials work. We know that there's different types, and I know that they've clarified that, but I don't know and they clarified their kind of personalities, but I don't remember if they clarified whether that has anything to do with how they copy people, because weirdly enough, like the way that the other characters have copied people has been presented very differently. Like the detective guy has no chill. Like he doesn't seem like he's trying to hide his identity at all. His personality is Rah! And then you have Mio, and like, what is her deal? Like, I feel like very early on, you could guess that she was a bestial, and like, as it more evolved, I was like, okay, I was thinking, so his girlfriend is the one kidnapped, and then the bestial, the wife of Pink Ranger is the bestial. But what makes it confusing is the personalities. Like, again, the detective guy, no chill, no attempt for a cover to pretend he's who he is or give him a new identity. But then you have her, where she was Black Ranger's girlfriend, but then as a bestial, she has this new identity. But the new identity seemingly is unaware that she's a bestial, and the monster will awaken at various points, and then she goes back to being Pink's wife. But then all of a sudden, when we finally found out the secret about everything, she snapped back to her original personality. And then that personality seemed to be aware that she was a bestial, so it's very confusing. I don't know whether that's by design or just for the sake of the dramatic twist of the love triangle. But then you have Kaito, who is very different personality-wise, and he's clearly not carrying on about himself like he did in the series. I don't know. That is an interesting wrinkle for me in how the copying works on, like, they can take their identities, but then some of them make their own identities, but then it's like a mix. So, I don't know. It also begs the question of, like, okay, so if Kaito is the bestial, presumably, I guess the penguin one is the theory. What's his deal? What's his angle here? Like, he seems to mostly be helping the DonBrothers out, and, like, he summoned a blank version of Juran for Don Momotaro to use. How does that involve the gears? Sonoi revealed that the DonBrothers' powers are part of, you know, the Don clan, given to them to support Don Momotaro. But the gears. I'm curious if they're going to answer that at all, because that has interested me. And, like, Zenkaiser will get the gears. I'm really curious to see, if at all, tie the mythology of Zenkaiser to DonBrothers in the gears regard. But yeah, I think that's pretty interesting. I think that there's slightly disappointment if this ends up being true that he's not some sort of variant of Kaito. I think this brings us down an interesting path that opens up a lot of different questions and makes him rather an interesting character. And it also makes me wonder whether he's going to be an antagonist by the end of the series or not. And again, my main questions just kind of remain, I guess, overall, what's his angle? And, like, how did he get involved in, not how did he get involved, but how did the Zenkaiser sort of mythology get somehow mixed up with the DonBrothers stuff? I mean, obviously, if the bestial copied Kaito, that's how that got involved, but, like, is there going to be any answer to why the gears are involved, and, like, why he's helping Don Momotaro out? That would be kind of cool if, like, okay, there's nothing to do with the Kaito variant, but the gears are just like a Sentai multiverse variant. Like, okay, both Zenkaiser and the DonBrothers use it. I guess that'd be pretty simple. But it's interesting to think about. But what do you think? What are your theories? Do you think that this is fully answering that, yes, Zenkaiser Black is a bestial, or do you think it's a red herring and there's going to be something more to it, or something more in the middle, where that's the answer, but it's more complicated? Let me know in the comments as always. Until next time, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and climb the steps to ring that bell so you get notifications for my videos. Dawson Ryder, signing out.